Electronic devices have become a way of life. Every day you switch on your television, you have your fan, and you have other gadgets that you use, including the mobile phone, which is pretty much a daily part of our lives. But what happens when these electronic devices become obsolete? Where do they go to? They are brought to a centralized location in Accra called Agbogbloshie. Behind me is a scrapyard or the junkyard called Agbogbloshie, where all your electronic devices are brought. But how is the management of electronic waste done here? And how is that affecting the health of the nation? How is it affecting the finances of the nation called Ghana? And indeed, how is it affecting the beautification agenda of Accra? That is what I'm here to focus on. And my name is Umaru Sanda. Every morning, the streets of Accra, Ghana's capital, are flooded by trolleys. Pushed by young men, these trolleys are vehicles for collecting a very special and precious waste, scrap metal. They enter homes and street corners in their search. The young men scavenge for anything electronic. These are considered waste by households, but cherished by the scavenging youth. The converging point is Agbogbloshie, a slum in the heart of Accra. This junkyard is where all your electronic devices come to die. And that is where the first group in the chain ends its work and returns for another round of scavenging.
When you go into town, then buy it and then bring it. We normally break it into pieces. As I said, we dismantle it, extract the boards, and then some aluminum inside. Then you separate them. You separate the metals and then the board.
What are the key things you look for in a laptop?
Yeah, we are looking for the boards and then the small aluminiums.
What is in the board?
The board contains a lot. It contains capacitors and then all those things.
And what do you use those ones for?
Yeah, actually, for them, we normally send them raw like that to the white people. They will take it and then recycle them.
I see. And what about the aluminium? What do you do with it?
Yeah, for the aluminium, when you extract the aluminium, then you weigh to the scale dealers, as you can see.
So for a single laptop, how much aluminium can you get from it, for instance?
Actually, unless you are getting them plenty. Otherwise, one laptop aluminium cannot weigh even one cedi.
I see. So about how many laptops do you need for how much of aluminium to be reasonably priced?
Yeah, as you can see, as they are made like this, when you extract them, when you extract the small aluminiums and then you put them together, it will make weight.
But what happens to the plastic covering the laptop and the other materials?
The plastics, they are just bola. After we remove what we want from inside, then we throw them away.
Where do you throw them?
We throw them at the back, just by the kwale.
And you bend them?
We bend them.
Why do you have to bend them?
Yeah, actually, for hygienic sake. Because if we don't bend them, they will be congested there. And then the environment will not be good for living.
Although it does not locate, the Agbogbloshie scrap yard is well organized and partitioned. There is a section for burning, a section for dismantling, a section for extraction, a section for weighing, another section for packaging, a section for selling, and a section for transportation. But the first port of call for arriving goods is the dismantling stage, where even the biggest vehicle is reduced to nothingness within minutes or hours. So there's a lot of hammering and chiseling that is happening here. All you need is this heavy hammer, a chisel, and an electronic item. Now, the idea is to extract as much as they can from these equipment. I'm not even sure what device this is, but this looks like the remains of a blender. So when you give your blender out to the scrap dealers who use their trolleys to come to the frontage of your house and ask to buy scrap metal, that item ends up in this particular area of Agbogbloshie. After a lot of hammering and chiseling, something precious comes out of it. That is the copper that has been loaded here in this basin. Now, I'm not sure immediately how much this costs, but we are told it's very valuable to the people who go through extraneous work to dig out this out of the disassembled equipment. Now, this could have been coming from the fridge that you've stopped using, or from the system unit that you have abandoned behind your backyard. It could even be from the motorbike that remained idle, or the bicycle you've left behind your house for many months. Indeed, it could even be coming from the television set that you're watching me on now. Around me, there are irons. There is an extension board. There is even a car's steering wheel, an old steering wheel, and I can see a mouse, a computer mouse. This is something I've dug out of the heap of rubble here. It looks to you like rubble, doesn't it? There's even a car number plate. I'm not sure what that would also be doing. Looks like rubble all around. But this is wealth for the persons who work on it.
My name is Yusuf Nantokma.
Yusuf Nantokma. How old are you?
Oh, my years, I don't know my years.
What are you doing here right now?
We are working for a scraps here. Yeah.
How long have you been doing this for?
It's been a long time where I come here to do scraps, so to work scraps.
Like how many years?
The years is too far for me to call it.
Did you come here like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
Yeah, like 5 years ago.
I see. Where did you come from?
I come from Savlugu.
Savlugu. Yeah. But why did you come to Accra to come and do this work?
Yeah, I was going to school. So the schooling when I go, it not go well for me. You see, with my brothers there, we are still them come and join them and do the scraps small.
Are you enjoying what you are doing?
The scraps. Yeah, it's hard work, but if you just work it and go, your body will be not okay for you.
So did you go to secondary school or GSS?
GSS that I stopped. Yes.
Why didn't you continue to go to school?
Because not everybody have brain to take something inside the head. So that's why I don't go to school.
So are you working for yourself here or you are working for somebody?
I'm working for my brother.
A lot of the workers here share Yusuf's story. Driven from northern Ghana by hunger, poverty and conflict, this youth head south in search of greener pastures. And because they have relatives already working on this junkyard, they easily gravitate towards it. By the time these youth realize they have been fooled by the picture presented to them about the luxury called Accra, they would have been neck deep in the struggle. After all the knocking, breaking, lifting and burning, Yusuf makes an average of 50 cedis a day, which is around $10. He says on days that luck shines on him, he makes an extra 20 cedis. Out of this meager amount, Yusuf caters for his wife and 1-year-old daughter back home. He also caters for his aged parents back in Ghana's northern region town of Savlugu. Yusuf tells me he wants to get out of this hellhole called Agbogbloshie, but he would need at least 1,000 Ghana cedis as seed capital for a business plan he has. But considering his earnings, 1,000 cedis seems like a flight to the moon. For now, the toil continues.
Somebody will go by, bring them before my brother bring them here for we to dismantle.
So when you dismantle, what do you look for inside?
We look for the copper, the brass, all of everything. We look for it, but the rubber and the rubbish there, we will throw it away.
What machines do you have here?
This one, that's alternator. It inside engine. Car side, yeah. We just remove aluminium, copper and iron inside the alternator.
Some workers like Yusuf Nantokma use simple tools like the chisel and hammer to dismantle gadgets and appliances, but not all items are dismantled in that manner. Well, it's not a blacksmith shop, and is it not either a furnace. What is happening here is that copper wire is being extracted from cables that have been brought here at the Agbogbloshie dam site. The idea is to burn anything that contains any copper at all. It could be cables from radio sets, from television sets, even from vehicles. You can see that huge ball is indeed a very scary scene. But that is what happens here.
How we are burning the fire. If my customer come, I will take burn.
So you have people who bring you wire every day?
Yeah, we have more customers. If you have not customer, you can't stand here to burn. So we have customers. They are bringing it for us. Then we are burning.
How long have you been doing this work for?
I started 2006 up to now.
Wow. And where are you coming from?
I'm coming from Savilugu.
Is that the only reason you came to Accra? You came to burn wires, or you're doing another work?
Oh, I know that only this one work I can do. Because I know say that the other work, if you know have money, you can't do the other work. So this one, yeah, I have my friend, my family, and my friend and my customers. They are bringing it for me. Then I burn. They are giving me small. Then I keep it.
Do you like this work that you are doing?
Oh, I can talk say I like because it him they help me now. So if I see more help, I like.
Is it not dangerous that all this smoke that is coming from it?
I know say that it's dangerous, but I need more help. If I see more help, I need more help. For this dangerous.
You are doing this work. You are not even wearing a mask on your nose, which means you are inhaling the gas all the time. Does it not worry you?
No, we are wearing the mask. We have masks on me. I have masks, more masks.
But you are not wearing it.
It's there for my bag. If you need it now, I can remove and show you.
But you are the only one who says you have that. There are other people who don't.
The other people we give them, but there is plenty. Some lost them. They are my own. More times they are giving us masks.
Don't people fall sick from this?
Oh, actually, I don't know. Unless God.
The extracted copper and other minerals are moved to the next stage of the chain. Lucky Osaho works for one of the shops that operate the big scales.
We are doing by casting and aluminium.
Okay. Now, people bring you items here?
Yes.
And what do you do when they bring it?
And I weigh it. And I check, give them the money.
How is the weighing done?
So they can bring the goods and they will weigh it. And there's quarter.
Okay.
When it's one quarter, so we now calculate. That 1 quarter is 28 in each pan. Okay. So we now calculate and pay.
So you pay the people who bring it?
Yes.
And then what happens to you? What do you do next?
After we pay the people and we take into the container, when the goods full into our container, so we carry it to company and sell the goods.
Which company?
Tema and Blue Gate.
Okay. How much does a sack cost, for instance, if I brought you a sack of copper?
Well, depend of the weight.
Okay. So how do you weigh it? How much is a kilogram or a pound?
The kilo, 1 pound is 10.5. Sometimes the clean copper we say it 10.7.
This is for copper. What about aluminium?
Aluminium. Some the clean one, the one that not carry road, we sell it 2 CD. Okay. The one that carry road, that is the reject one, we sell it 18,000.
But the underlying health hazards of operating this junkyard are enormous. Agbogbloshie is an area occupied predominantly by people from northern Ghana who are either fleeing a conflict, extreme poverty or hunger. Although the area is no more directly under the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, the current mayor of Accra, Mohammed Niaje Soa, recalls how it all began.
As at the 1992, the population of Agbogbloshie was less than 1,500. Today we are talking of a population of over 100,000. That's a huge number. And if we had been able to deal with the migration issue as at 1990s, we wouldn't have been running into challenge that we are facing now.
The young men at Agbogbloshie are either oblivious of the serious health hazards they are exposed to, or they simply can't be bothered. Dr. Carl Stephen Osei is the program's manager for occupational and environmental health of the Ghana Health Service.
It's a very hazardous business that they are engaged in. The way in which the recycling is done exposes those who do it, the workers, as well as those who are working in that area. You know that it's a big market. We have women and children in that area, either working or even living there. And in burning, they create a lot of air pollution. And these pollutants, we have what we call the persistent organic pollutants that can persist in the environment, in the air for decades. And they are carcinogenic and they can cause other health problems. We also have the particulate matter that we know that when inspired can lead to aggravation of already existing respiratory diseases as well as cardiovascular diseases. Okay, so those who are asthmatics, those who are allergic to some of these dusts in the air, their conditions are aggravated. Can affect the eyes, the skin, and but mostly the respiratory function.
The challenge with Agbogbloshie is that the health risks do not only affect persons working in the scrapyard. As Dr. Oxer explains, even people living miles away are at risk.
Apart from entering through by inhalation, you can also get some of them entering your body through the dermal contacts as they are processing or recycling the waste. It also enters the food chain one way or the other because of the contamination of the topsoil. And then you see in the markets, they have all sorts of food being sold there. People are eating all around the place. The air carrying all these particles settle on the food. And we can say that from monitoring that EPA has been conducting as far as air pollution is concerned, that whole area of Agbogbloshie market and the old Fadama area is the air pollution or the air quality level is poor. So we can expect that people living within certain radius, maybe kilometers, few kilometers radius of that place will really be directly exposed to these pollutants, especially the ones in the air.
The Agbogbloshie site is not only used for dismantling scrap metals, but squatters here also rear livestock which carry one toxin or another. A recent publication in the Guardian newspaper revealed the contents of a report by two environmental groups which suggested that chicken eggs from the Agbogbloshie slum contain dangerous levels of dioxins and chlorinated biphenyls, among other harmful substances. Researchers for the two groups, IPEN and Basil Action Network, analyzed eggs laid by the free-range chickens that forage in Agbogbloshie. Quote, the analysis revealed that an adult eating just a single egg in the Agbogbloshie scrapyard and slum would exceed the European Food Safety Authority limit on chlorinated dioxins 220 times over. Other toxic chemicals were present in similarly worrying concentrations, including PCBs and fire retardant compounds. Dioxins in particular are highly damaging even in small concentrations, unquote. These findings are corroborated in the concerns raised by Dr. Ose of the Ghana Health Service.
The other source of pollution I did mention was also through groundwater contamination. And in fact, that area you see sometimes cattle also grazing there with all this soil contamination, and the grass is contaminated and the cattle eating. You can imagine the quality of meat and milk that is there. And like I said, you have a lot of these women who may be pregnant, and in pregnancy, you know that the fetus is very vulnerable to these toxins. It can affect their development, and for the children, many of them, these heavy metals that are also released from the burning process. We have so many of them: mercury, lead, cadmium, name them, zinc, a lot of them copper, all these things going into the air.
Agbogbloshie has gained international notoriety as the world's largest e-waste dump site. Over the decades, Ghana has watched almost helplessly as the slum shot into international limelight. Almost every government in the past 2 decades has professed one solution or another to the Agbogbloshie menace, but 5 years after it was declared the world's biggest e-waste dump site, Agbogbloshie still reigns. The most recent proposed solution came from the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in August 2018, when he announced the construction of an integrated e-waste recycling facility at Agbogbloshie. The facility is envisaged to be as grand as it sounds.
That e-waste recycling facility is primarily going to do, is going to have 3 major lines. We expect to add a 4th line, which will come later. But from the word go, it's going to have 3 lines, which is the waste electrical and electronic items, which is the computers, the fax machines, the phones, and all those things that you find. So we're going to recycle all those materials in an environmental friendly environment. Then we'll also have a line that will be responsible for the recycling of refrigerators. Then we have the line 3, which is going to be basically going to focus on the recycling of old car tires. Based on the timeline that we have, we're looking at kickstarting it in August this year. And I'm using August because I like to give projections that are achievable.
The government of Ghana boasts of 2 ministries and several local government authorities that could tackle the crisis, but it still grows. The Ministry of Health and the Ministry for Environment are in charge of policy direction in that regard. Beneath that superstructure is the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. Further below to the micro level, the EPA has a technology unit which oversees the canker. Set up in 2012, the Ghana National Cleaner Production Center is mandated to, quote, develop and implement projects and activities that will promote resource efficiency and cleaner production activities in areas of energy, water and raw material efficiency and waste management practices in industries that will result in reduced manufacturing cost, lowered pollution, and improved health and safety performance, unquote. From his huge office at Ashaiman in the Greater Accra region, I asked the director of the center, Lambert Fabulon, why Agbogbloshie has not been shut down.
It is as easy for anyone who does not understand to say that shut the place down, shut the place down. It is a matter of bread and butter issue. It's a bread and butter issue. I can comfortably go and sit in my office at the end of the month, government pays me. Somebody cannot be guaranteed 1 square meal. That is why those people are there, aching a living for themselves, for their families, to get people to school, to cater for people's welfare. The only wrong thing they are doing there is the way they handle the materials, the burning. So rather than shut the place down, we have a way of doing it that would not affect anybody. And then we can coexist. The environment will be safe, innocent people will be safe, and they will still make their money.
Mr. Fabulon, however, explains that the unit has embarked on several approaches to addressing the menace called Agbogbloshie.
We started finding market for that plastic. And then, instead of it, we also taught them how to manually dismantle those things. The components have economic value which they sell and get more money than if they just sell it. If they just burn and take the oxidized wire, which has a low market value.
But there are other organizations in the mix attempting to restore sanity to the junkyard. One such organization is GIZ, the German corporation, which has been championing the environmentally sound disposal and recycling of e-waste. Head of the e-waste program at GIZ, Markus Spitzbart, says the young men of Agbogbloshie may not necessarily have to be taken out of their job to solve the problem of the junkyard.
You have fractions components in the e-waste, like the battery, like capacitors, like the oil in some other appliances, and especially in the cars, which you have to take out with care, protect yourself, and then destine it to proper disposal. And this is what doesn't happen at the moment. Other fractions, like the cable, is a very good example, where you have the copper in, but where the proper technology on the scrapyard is not available to treat it without environmental pollution.
In addition to training the workers at Agbogbloshie, GIZ would introduce a special program where the major health issues of Agbogbloshie would be curtailed.
What the German approach, the technical cooperation program and the financial cooperation program of the German corporation together, is to introduce an incentive system to pay the scrap workers an amount for the cables which is attractive to them to not burn it anymore, and then tender it to the local recycling market to incentivize, to catalyze the introduction of further formal recycling processes in that area.
One obvious but less considered fact is that Agbogbloshie is actually at the last end of the e-waste channel. Ghana operates a vibrant port at Tema, where hundreds of thousands of goods are shipped into the country and to the landlocked neighbors. A more effective way of controlling the Agbogbloshie menace could be addressing it at source. In line with that agenda, President John Mahama in 2016 signed the Hazardous and Electronic Waste Control and Management Act, Act 917, followed by the Hazardous, Electronic and Other Waste Classification, Control and Management Regulations, LI 2250. The two legal frameworks were meant to be the bedrock for the campaign to sustainable e-waste disposal in Ghana. The dictates of the Act, if implemented, could be the master solution from the roots. Francis Gavo is Ghana's National E-Waste Project Coordinator.
In one way or the other, they do what we call the misclarification, where they tag the item as a used item, only for the item to arrive here, and the average poor importer finds out that, yes, I requested for used item, but they are really not used, because if, let's say I take an example like a TV, I import a used TV, it comes in and rather the switch is not working, this is not working. So the average importer has no choice than to just discard it. According to statistics, some 70,000 tons of metal is brought to this site every year. Out of this, over 25% is electronic waste. And based on the analysis so far, it appears a master solution to Ghana's e-waste problem can be found way outside the country's borders. This means a lot of work ought to be done at the port of entry. From the foregoing, it is obvious that the Agbogbloshie menace ought to be taken head-on due to its catastrophic nature. But there are still challenges in the execution process. The thick black smoke that bellows from the site every day is a reminder to the nation that deep in the bowels of the national capital, some tens of thousands of Ghanaians are wasting away. Indeed, despite the huge anticipated economic benefits associated with their work, the scrap dealers themselves believe a solution ought to be found. Mohammed Abdul-Rashid again.
The fire is burning me. I can't talk say it's not burning, it's burning, because that one is we are chopping for inside. You can't talk say you can't do it. The thing where me I say that me I'm praying. The one who can help us, where this smoke cannot disturb anybody for the Ghana year, we like it.
It's a beehive of activities here, mostly for economic gains. The people who operate here are running a commercial business. For them, this is a source of livelihood. But of course, what happens to the other people who are the receiving end, the health hazards, the concerns for many who live in this neighborhood who are not necessarily connected to these activities, to the people who are living far off, but because of the powers of the wind, the waste from the electronic products here are transmitted to them and they inhale them unknowingly. What happens to the health of the nation after seeing what we have seen from this junkyard today? By all means, people have to live and survive, but should their survival affect other people? The next time you purchase an electronic equipment, consider what happens to it. Consider the health implications on the generality of the society when you buy and sell to the scrap dealer. There have been so many promises in the past from governments. When are we going to see the reality on the ground? What master plan would government put in place to ensure both the residents here and people who live around are not affected? The electronic waste you buy every day may kill someone without you knowing.